What is up, folks? It is Wednesday night, 8 PM UK time, and I am Elliot Upton of UP Fitness, Ultimate Performance, otherwise known. I'm here to answer your questions, have a bit of a rant about stuff, talk about anything you need me to talk about, clear up some smoke and mirrors in the fitness industry, go through some fads, some this, that, the other, whatever you want to call it. I've got YouTube filming right here. This is for the second chance if you're watching this now on YouTube. This was something that was filmed on Wednesday night, 8 PM on the @UP Fitness Live channel. That link is down in the description box. Live right here on Instagram, Second Chance TV here on YouTube. So bear with me, YouTube, while I'm speaking to Instagram and vice versa. Hello everyone, we've got people coming in. So for those of you who are just joining who haven't done this before, you've not been in, every single Wednesday at 8 PM I come online and I basically just answer questions. I stand here for an hour in my lovely house and I answer questions for an hour on the fitness industry, on fitness fads, on diets, on training, on programming, you name it, just to try and give you some accurate information. One of the things you've got to remember in this day and age is that everybody's trying to sell you something, and this is a real problem. Everyone's just trying to take a load of money off you at whatever expense to you. This means you're being misled, you're being misinformed, and that has led to widespread confusion in the fitness industry, often overcomplication, and a lack of results, which is ultimately why we are all here. So what I try to do, what UP Fitness tries to do, is both through all of the crap and give you the cold hard facts of how to get in shape, how to get strong, how to do all of the things that you're probably training to do. So loads of you coming in. I'm going to let you load up. I'm going to have some water. For anyone who's missed the previous ones, they are all up on my YouTube, which is Elliot Upton with 2 L's, 2 T's, as if you didn't already know by now. So you can check that out. Those of you watching on Catch Up TV on YouTube, you can go over to my channel and you can check out all the previous YouTube videos we've done on this and any other extra videos we've got. We've got videos on ketosis, on intermittent fasting, on fitness myths, you name it. I'll put a load of stuff up. Of course, if you're unable to ask questions live right now on Instagram, then do put them in the comments box on the YouTube video down below and I will get back to you and I will answer them, I promise. Okay, folks, so who's going to break in? Who's going to take the question virginity tonight on this lovely sunny-ish Wednesday? Who's going for it? The light's playing up for some reason, isn't it? It's flashing on and off. I'm going to try and stay in one place. I'm going to see if I can be a little less ADHD and bounce around the room. Riri, hi, I've been carb cycling, 2 days high carb, the rest low, whilst training 3 times a week, but I'm not losing much body fat. Riri, your first port of call. If you're training 2 days high carb and the rest low, but you're training 3 days a week, how have you structured your carb cycling? That would be the first question I ask you. More of you coming in. For those of you who don't know what carb cycling is a form of kind of calorie and fuel fluctuations depending on the amount of activity you do that day. Now for me, I'm a massive fan of never overcomplicating anything. Don't make things too complicated. If you make things too complicated, you're gonna screw them up. So the way I tend to do it is I say, right, what days are you training? Let's say I'm training Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which is pretty standard for one of my programs, something like the Live UP program. Again, links for that can be found in the description box. It will be a Monday, Wednesday, Friday where you have more carbs or a high carb day. Then on all rest days or cardio days, that's when you would take the carbohydrates down or completely out. I like quite heavily contrasted high carb and low carb days. But by the sounds of things, if you're training 3 times a week, but you've only got 2 days where your carbs are elevated and the rest low, it feels to me like you've maybe not thought about how you're going to structure those carbs. If you have thought about it and I'm misinformed here, then potentially your calories aren't right. So that could also be something that needs looking at. Best way to get rid of belly fat, Miss McDude. Best way to get rid of body fat is diet. Belly fat is diet. It does not matter how you train. Diet is going to be the #1 factor to losing fat, especially around the belly. Now, one of the things you have to take into account as a female is your higher potential for estrogenic toxicity. So you need to make sure you're not putting any chemicals in your body. That's going to elevate your estrogen levels, which is going to promote fat storage around kind of the stomach, hip area. Potentially make sure your stress hormones are low, so keep alcohol down. Make sure you're sleeping really, really, really well. Don't overtrain, which again is another thing that plagues a lot of you females out there. With regards to exercises, a common misconception there is that doing a bunch of crunches is going to rid you of belly fat. It is not going to rid you of belly fat at all. Doing a bunch of crunches is going to do very little for your belly fat. If we were to generalize, massively generalize, and say that there are certain exercises that could be better for burning belly fat, they would be the bigger exercise. Squats, deadlifts, overhead presses, pull-ups, and rows. Why? Because they are very, very metabolically costly as exercises. They burn a lot of calories per rep, therefore are more likely to burn fat way faster off your entire body than something like a crunch or a bicep curl or a tricep extension, something like that. Alright, we're going down. For those of you on YouTube, every time you see me go quiet, I am just scrolling down through the questions to find the next one. Matt Tipper, what is your views on German volume training? I love it. I absolutely love it. Best exercises for that sort of program, Matt Tipper, are your big ones. So, for instance, if I were to do a German volume training style protocol, it would be either 3 or 4 days per week. I would usually superset a horizontal push, say a bench press, with a horizontal pull, say a bent over row, with a little bit of accessory work at the end of that exercise. I would then, on my next session, potentially do something like legs, and then I would superset the third session. It would be back to upper body. I would potentially superset a horizontal pull to a vertical pull to a vertical push. So let's say shoulder press and a lat pull down, something like that. That way I'm hitting pressing movements twice a week, I'm hitting my back twice a week, I'm hitting my legs once to twice a week, depending on how I split it. That is adequate. If you're doing much more than that, the chances are you're not going to grow that well from it. One thing that has to be taken into account with something like German volume training, for those of you who don't know what German volume training is, it's 10 sets of 10 reps. Okay, that's basically the gist of the workout. Big bang for your buck exercises. You're going to have to see a therapist regularly, not a mental therapist, a massage therapist. Get yourself rolled out because it's a very aggressive training protocol and it can leave you with all sorts of aches and pains if you're not careful, you're not taking care of your body. Also, ensure that you are eating enough calories. If you're not eating enough calories, nothing is going to happen. Chances are you're going to get weaker because it's quite a brutal protocol. And again, make sure you're sleeping. Get to bed really early. How many times a week should I train to hit shred fat fast? Joe Delicious, for most people, weight training wise, I would suggest 3, maybe 4 sessions if you're very ample on allowing yourself to recover, i.e. you're sleeping a lot, you're eating brilliantly, and generally you recover quite well. You can probably manage 4 sessions. Any more than that, for most people, there's a damn good chance that you're not actually going to recover from it, and this will cause a problem. When you're not recovering from it, eventually your body's going to start to break down tissue, you're going to start to regress. When your body is breaking down tissue, there's a good chance that your metabolism is going to begin to slow. If it begins to slow, you're going to burn fat a lot slower. It's pretty much that simple, right? So I would say 3 to 4 days a week weight training for most people with standard recovery is about right. Obviously, general activity on top of that, walks, things like that, some super short interval sessions. Something that's really very useful is Tabata sessions. Getting up and doing 8 to 10 minutes of hard, very intense intervals every single morning can also be really handy. Not sure why this is jumping in and out of focus, but here we are. Excuse me. Hey, just wondering where the email is that we talked about earlier. Louise, you're going to have to, if you're speaking to me specifically, you're going to have to email me rather than asking that on the online live forums, because I'm not going to be able to remember something that I've been doing today whilst I'm trying to focus on this. Apologies for that, Louise. If I weight train 3 times a week, e.g. Monday, Wednesday and Friday, which days should I do HIT and which days to rest? Miss Zoe Edwards, for me, if I had that kind of split, I would probably do my high intensity interval training on a Tuesday and a Saturday. The rest of them you can rest, so Thursday and Sunday you can rest. But remember, with high intensity interval training, you need to keep it really short. It should be short, it should be intense, it should be extremely brutal. So we're talking anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes maximum, but your working periods, let's say 15 to 20 seconds worth of working periods, need to be extremely hard. You know, I see a lot of people saying that they do their high intensity interval training with skipping and stuff like that. The reality of it is, unless you're a phenomenal skipper and you can use some really advanced techniques, you're not doing high intensity interval training with skipping. The ones that you should be looking at are things like big heavy prowler pushes, dead mill sprints, uphill sprints, things like that. You're not getting much else out of kind of slower, lower impact stuff. Even to a degree, things like burpees that people like to do at home. They're extremely high impact. There's a lot of risk with them, so make sure you're safe to do them, and also ensure you're getting the intensity up. High intensity intervals need to be exactly that, high intensity. Emma Evans, evening, how are you? Joe Cruz, what's up? The Design Affair, what's up? So, we've got a few things when we get to these silent moments. I'll bring up stuff that's come on during my week. Today, I've put a video on our Live UP forum, the Fat Loss forums that we do, and I'm going to talk about not using other people as a reference. If you compare yourself to other people, you're always going to be disappointed. Every single one of you out there, every single one of you watching this, whether on YouTube or on Instagram, You're all very, very different. You start off in life very, very different. Your genetics are entirely different. Your past that has led you to this point, your dietary past, your exercise past, your ability to play sports, your ability to digest food as it is now has been very, very different because of illness, because of stress, because of lifestyle, whatever it may be. For these reasons, I get asked a lot, why am I losing weight faster when so-and-so has lost body fat at this rate? Because they are not you. They are very, very different. There are too many different factors involved. Genetics being number one. Secondly, rate of perceived exertion essentially is what we have. One client who thinks they're working at 100% when in reality they're working at about 60%. We have another client who's working at 100% when in reality they think they should be working harder. Got different mindsets there. Various illnesses that you've had in the past can massively affect how well you digest food and how well you absorb nutrients, therefore how well you can drop body fat and build muscle. Previous training experience is going to have a lot to do with it. Thyroid function is going to have a lot to do with it. There's a million different factors that need to be taken into account when you are trying to transform your body. So please, for your own mental sanity, all of you out there, never compare yourself to somebody else. You are a very, very awesome and unique being. Treat yourself as such. You are not the same as anybody else, so don't use anybody else as a reference point as to how much success or failure you are currently having. Okay, still one out of questions. God, I'm coming. It's a slow one tonight. I wonder what everyone's doing. There's not a football match on or anything, is there? 41 of you are there. Come on, fire a question across. Other thing that has come up in the last few days, let me have a think about that. Hang on a minute, no, mate. This was the one. I watched a really interesting TED Talk earlier, a gentleman from the United States, and the TED Talk was basically about, it was a sales talk, and it occurred to me that it is very, very, very true for the fitness industry. And he said, buy the why and not the what, okay? Buy the why and not the what. My interpretation of that is when you are purchasing something, and the same really does apply in the fitness industry, when you are purchasing something in the fitness industry, that could be an online program, could be a supplement, it could be something that one of these fitness influencers is promoting. You need to buy it because of why they are selling it, okay? Make a note of this. When you are making a purchase of anything, I guess, but I'm going to use it specifically relevant to the fitness industry, personal training, etc., you need to have a think about what that person's motive is to sell something to you, because if their why is incorrect, if they are just trying to take your money, which, let's be honest, is almost the entire fitness industry, then the product that you buy from them is going to let you down, okay? So if you're buying something just because of what it is, it looks great, it looks exciting, the person who sold it has a six-pack, chances are it's going to be a shit product. You need to think about when you're buying programs for people, when you're choosing fitness influencers to follow, you think about their why and not what they are. Why are they selling to you? Why are they trying to help you, or are they just trying to make money out of you? Think about it. It's really interesting talk. I'll try and put the link on the description on that. I'll link back to it on the YouTube video. So anyone here on Instagram who wants that link, head over to the YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, Elliot Upton with 2 L's, 2 T's. And I will put the link in the description there because it's a really, really cool little video. And it gave you something to think about. Buy the why and not the what. Can you give some examples of high-intensity workouts? Yes, TV reality love. For me, the best high-intensity workouts you're going to do is sprints, hill sprints. Go and find a big hill. There's one outside just the other side of my swimming pool there. There's a big hill that's about 100 meters long and probably about a 30-degree gradient. Sprint up that, walk back down it. Sprint up that, walk back down it. Obviously, after a good warm-up first, that's going to be your best form of high-intensity interval training for me. Second best, something like prowlers. Third best, probably a rower, something like that. It can be very, very useful. Thoughts on negative training. Janet, can be very, very useful. Negative training being slow eccentrics for most of you. Or if you're getting super complicated and advanced, just the negative, in which case you may need some specialist equipment. But what you'll find is that you're going to build the most muscle from slow negative reps and potentially increase strength a lot faster as well. And realistically, there are studies to suggest, not that I'm a massive one for studies, there are studies to suggest that you're going to have the most metabolically costly workouts if you slow the eccentric reps down. Optimal kind of levels, about 4 to 5 seconds, but have a play around with your training. The one problem with slow eccentric training is it can get so boring. It can really get boring. So what you need to do is find that balance between the result you're looking for and being consistently aggressive with your training. Mix it up a little bit. Do some fast sessions, some power and speed sessions, and some slow negative sessions. Realistically, if you're trying to build a load of tissue, you're trying to build a lot of extra muscle, then I would suggest doing a lot of slow eccentric training. But just in your workouts, the easiest way to integrate that is just to do your normal workouts as you normally would, but just do a 4-second eccentric on the lifts, whether that be squat, pull down, whatever it happens to be. How do you retain your love of fitness? Design affair. My love of fitness kind of comes from you guys like this. Irrelevant of where I am in the world, I've tried to get on here. If it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I've been in Asia, I've still been on here talking to you guys. If it's been 1 o'clock in the morning in Dubai, I get up in the middle of the night and I get on here and talk to you. You guys give me the love, because every single day I learn something new, I figure something out, a penny drops, something clicks, or I'm challenged differently. The fat loss programs that we have, the Live UP fat loss programs, the online forums there, we've got the best part of 400 people in these online forums, and every day we're conversing, we're motivating each other, we're having a chat, we're having a joke, we're having a laugh, we're sharing our lives. These things give me the itch and the love for fitness, and it keeps me in it, And I'm very, very lucky, don't get me wrong. I've worked damn hard my whole life, without a doubt. I will never let anyone take that away from me. But I also work for UP, which for any trainer who has the ability to get to kind of a UP level, and I don't mean, that's not an egotistical thing about how much you know, it's about who you are. Being a part of the UP team, being a part of the UP family is more about who you are than what you know initially. We teach you what you need to know as you come up. But obviously I've been with this company for the best part of 7 years, and I'm very, very lucky because the world is kind of my oyster. One thing that Nick Mitchell does is he nurtures hard workers. He figures out what you want, what are your goals, what are your personal goals, where do you want to be, and he finds a way to facilitate that. So I'm very lucky because I have an extremely good life because of what I do here, and this all helps me love the fitness industry. So I'm very, very thankful for that, and thankful for you guys. What's the difference between the new online PT plan and the older online PT? Orlando, the new plan, I'm assuming you mean the Live UP plan versus the old online training. The old online training still exists. What you refer to as the old online training is simply one-to-one training, which still exists. That's still there. One-to-one training is very, very specific. Let's say you purchase one-to-one training from us. We send you an assessment. We try and get a good, accurate picture of who you are, what your abilities are, and what your goals are. We then assign you a one-to-one trainer who you have 24/7 access to, who writes workouts and a diet plan specific to you. The Live UP plan, however, which is what I think you're referring to as the new plan, it's actually a scaled down version of that in order to meet a different price point. We have a lot of people out there who can't necessarily afford online personal training. So what we did is decided to introduce a product that was a pre-made program, a program that I wrote, and it is kind of the culmination of the best programs I've written over the last 11 years in order to get people in shape as fast as possible. Now, it doesn't give you access to a one-to-one trainer. It doesn't give you 24/7 email access to a trainer. It doesn't give you a specific diet. What it gives you is let's say a one-size-fits-all program that as you check in each Monday is adjusted to you specifically. Okay, so there's no, it's not quite as in-depth as one-to-one, but as you will see from my profile, as you'll see from the UP profile, we are still getting extremely good results from it. So do check them out. You can go to upfitness.com and you can check out our one-to-one online training or our Live UP online programs for either males or females. We do have specific male or female programs because you have very specifically different needs. Best way to get rid of belly fat and love handles. Tic Tac Vic, pretty sure you've asked that question about 3 times over the last month. Diet, get your diet nailed. If you are drinking alcohol, stop it. If you're eating any kind of shit, stop it. If you're eating too much of anything, stop it. If you're not sleeping well enough, stop it. They would be a very, very good way of starting. Thanks, I've been mixing it up. Good, Jenna. Do you lose weight with weight training? You certainly do, Kath. Weight training is the fastest way to lose body fat by a mile, by an absolute mile. The reason being, so weight training sessions, let's compare them to something like cardio, which is the classic way of dropping body fat. Cardio, for an hour's worth of cardio training, let's say you burn 400 calories. Once you step off that machine, that's it. You've burnt those 400 calories, your body goes back to normal. What weight training does is for that hour, let's say you burn 400 to 500 calories, say similar, just to be fair, let's say similar. But what you've actually done is you've created muscular damage. Now, that damage has to be repaired. In order for that damage to be repaired, your body elevates its metabolic processes in order to rebuild. Imagine a bunch of workmen on a building site using loads of energy to rebuild something that has been knocked down. That's essentially what happens. So, for every single weight training session you do, an intense weight training session, your body is actually probably going to burn about 20% more calories for the next day, maybe day and a half. Whereas if you do something like cardio, for instance, that's not going to happen. Weight training is the optimal way to lose fat as quickly as possible. And it's awesome being strong. Coffee. Saw your video in the group, but no important cutting out coffee. How important, sorry. On a transformation plan. I work shifts, I have a baby, so it keeps me going. However, determined to goals if it's gone. Emma Evans. The reason I'm not a massive fan of coffee, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's bad for you. But the reason I don't like coffee is because all of us are overstimulated, okay? We are not sleeping enough, which means our cortisol levels are already high. We are often overtraining, which means our cortisol levels are already high. We are undernourished, okay? Which means our body is under stress, our cortisol levels are high. We have family stress, our cortisol levels are high. We have work stress, our cortisol levels are high. You can see where I'm going with this. What we need to do in order to be healthy and lose fat and stabilize our energy levels is to get cortisol back down and get our body into a place where it is not stressed and it is happy. Instead, what do people do? They drink a load of coffee, which guess what? Makes your cortisol go high. The fact of the matter is, the first week, maybe two at an absolute max, can really suck when I'm taking you off coffee. However, especially if you work shifts, you'll find that your energy levels normalize completely and you feel like £1,000,000 afterwards. Once your cortisol levels start to drop, inflammation goes down, your training gets easier, you have a ton more energy, your hair will be better, your skin will glow, your nails will grow faster. All of these things happen pretty quickly. I'm not saying coffee is the devil, but it certainly isn't an angel either. And for me, my preference is, because I know what we are like as a society, I recommend taking it out, certainly in the short term. I spin 3 times a week and lift weights 3 times a week. I recently hit a plateau with my weight loss. Would you recommend anything to mix it up? Yes, Emma, I would recommend dropping the spinning, and you'll probably find that you will improve a little bit. Spinning's, it's far too intense and far too long to be beneficial to improving muscle mass and fat burning. Yes, of course, in the initial period, it's going to burn a lot of calories because you're exercising, right? However, long term, it's also likely to chronically elevate your cortisol, as we've just discussed, because you're overtraining. If you're training 6 days a week, by training 6 days a week, you're training considerably more than I do, and I would, I pay a lot of attention to my recovery. I don't really drink. I try to prioritize my sleep as best I can. What I really do is work, eat, sleep. Okay, so I would potentially say to back off on your training a bit and see what happens, because you may find that you get a lot more out of your weight training sessions if you drop that spin a bit. Is eating past, say, 10 p.m. bad for you? Hull FC, it depends, right? Does it affect your sleep would be the first question I ask. Number 2, do you have good digestion, or are you going to bed bloated, or are you waking up bloated? If either of those 2 factors are something, then maybe bring it earlier. For me, I don't have a problem with eating really, really late. I can't actually go to bed hungry. If I go to bed hungry, I can't sleep and I dream about food and I just wake up anyway. So for me, there's not really any issue, I would say, with eating past 10. Dan Colley, I was a 51-year-old. I know you're 51, Dan, because every single time you message on these, you say exactly the same thing. Welcome back. A 51-year-old, should training be different from a younger guy, i.e. times a week, time in the gym, amount of weights, etc., or should I just be doing almost the same routine? Depends, Dan, depending on recovery. I would say a good rule of thumb is 3 days, maybe every other day is enough. I would keep the volume fairly low, so keep it down between 9 and 12 total sets per body part per week would be enough. And with regards to weight, I would just recommend, make sure you're challenging yourself, because it's the only way you're going to adapt. But I would also make sure you are keeping the tempo slow. You do not want to be moving incorrectly, because potentially your joint integrity is not as good as, say, a 25-year-old man. Laura Cupcakes, how do I get a grip on macros? You go into the kitchen and you grip whichever one of the macros you want. The best thing, the starting point for macros is to be very, very clear on what foods fall into each group. If you know what foods fall into each group, that gives you a starting point to use trial and error, is to, work out how many calories, then you know what foods fall into which groups, track them for 3 or 4 days and start to play around. Adjust it if it doesn't work. If you're trying to lose body fat and you're not losing body fat, then adjust some things around back and forth. It's quite a big subject that. It's not necessarily one that's very easy to answer right now, because I'd need specifics, but learn what the foods are initially. Learn what foods fall into carbs, proteins, and fats. From there, you can start to build a plan and then use trial and error to adjust that plan. Tic Tac Vic, can you still get ripped by training and eating on a budget, i.e. eggs? Absolutely, 100% yes. I know I've had clients who are eating for 50 quid a week, 50 euros a week. So yes, you absolutely can. Not a problem. Especially if you've got a really good, a lot of skill in the kitchen, which is not something I do have. Samantha, what's up? Perfect body, makes sense. Thank you, Mr. Evans. What about decaf coffee? Gina, again, decaf coffee is not actually decaffeinated, it's just lower caffeine, remember that? So it doesn't mean that there's got no caffeine in it. You see some knobs drinking decaf coffee 5 minutes before they go to bed because, oh, I've got to have a coffee. No, you haven't, you're just a fool. Decaf coffee is not necessarily that much better. It's slightly better, of course. But again, then we've got to take into account, what are you probably having in your decaf coffee? You're probably having a load of milk, or you're going to get a latte, or you're going to get a cappuccino, or you're going to get all of these things. By the end of the week, you've added 1,500 calories to your diet that you should have been in a deficit. But because you've decided you wanted to drink teas and coffees, you've ended up way over your calorie allowance. The thing is, with stuff like that, what I tend to say, and certainly what I say on the Live GP forums, is when you are lean, give yourself some more dietary freedom. If, however, you are fat and you are out of shape, you need to start dialing things in. You need to be willing to give a few things up just in the short term in order to get to where you want to go. Once you are there, yes, of course you can integrate stuff back in, but you may just have to suck it up in the short term. Deb Louise, hello. How to get cortisol and inflammation down. First thing is to stop doing the shit that you're doing that's bringing it up. So eating inflammatory foods, by that I mean bad foods, bad chemically enhanced foods. Make sure you're sleeping a lot, make sure you're drinking a lot of water, and make sure you're doing everything you can to recover adequately. With regards to supplementation, things like that, inflammation can be brought down with curcumin is extremely good for inflammation. Berberine is extremely good for inflammation. Omega fish oil is extremely good for inflammation. Those would be 3 great supplements to do it. With regards to cortisol control, you can go onto upfitness.com and you can find our cortisol supplements there and adrenal support, which will actually help bring your cortisol levels down and help support getting your adrenal glands back into a good place. So those would be my recommendations. Curcumin and adrenal support, which can both be found on our website at upfitness.com, along with omega-3 fish oils, which can also be taken now. I would suggest taking 5 to 10 grams of omega-3 fish oils per day. And berberine you can probably pick off somewhere off of Amazon, something like that. Emma, you're welcome. If I go to the gym for a weight session, how much warm-up do I need to do and what do you recommend? Currently go on a treadmill for 10 minutes. Madam Eva, I would say like a 5-minute heart raiser, so get on a cross trainer rather than the treadmill, something low impact, get some blood pumping through your legs and your body. As soon as you've got a few beads of sweat dripping off your head and you're a little bit breathless, then do a dynamic warm-up. Something that just allows you to move around a little bit and allows you to get your body limber. Something like Joe DeFranco's Limber 11 is also very useful. You can go onto YouTube and check it out. I will film this week, I'll film a warm-up video anyway, a dynamic warm-up video, showing you exactly what to do, how to do it, and how long it should take. But realistically, you're looking at no more than 10 minutes, including your sort of a slight heart raiser bit of cardio, something on a cross trainer, and then the dynamic warm-up, there you'll be ready for your workout. But that should take no more than 10 minutes. I'm epileptic and have chronic asthma. I'm on epilepsy medication and a steroid inhaler. I work out for 2 to 4 hours daily. Sorry, Deb, you're working out for 2 to 4 hours a day? Can you answer me why you're doing that, please? Fat man, I've lost 10 stone and thinking of doing my first bulk. Any advice? Do it slowly and be patient with yourself. Don't suddenly turn around and start shoveling in tons and tons and tons of food. If you have been fat before and you start doing that, you are going to get fat again very, very quickly. So be patient with yourself and gradually lift your calories whilst progressively training. Tic Tac Vic, thank you. When training 3 or 4 days a week, on the off days, would you advise to do some cardio or have a day off training? Tic Tac Vic, I would recommend doing, just a morning walk, something like that, something to clear your head in the morning, get some blood pumping. Cardio can be very, very useful, even when you're trying to build muscle or burn fat, to get some blood pumping around your body, deliver nutrients, help you recover faster, keep your joints moving. So absolutely yes, by all means go for a walk in the morning. Ems, how do I get a plan? How much is it? I'm struggling for motivation and can't lose my saddlebags. Ems, if you go to, right now, go to upfitness.com, go over to our online training section and you will see two types of online training there. You'll see one-to-one online training, which means you will be assigned a specific one-to-one trainer who is basically yours for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week via email. You'll get specific programs, specific diets, specific supplementation. Your second option, the lower cost option, is our Live UP female program, which is a pre-made program that is adjusted to you. Minor adjustments are made to you along the way, and you have access to me personally through our Live UP forums. But you can go to upfitness.com, go to the tab in the top left-hand corner, click that, and that will tell you exactly what we have as options for online training. To keep myself fit, okay, Deb, you are not, under any circumstances, going to lose, certainly not improve your body composition training 4 hours a day. I would say back that off to 4 hours a week and you may make some progress. Sammy Gov, what's the best machine to get rid of fat on the stomach? Your fridge. Your fridge is the best machine to get rid of fat on the stomach. Make sure what's in it is the appropriate foods to be in line with a good, healthy diet. If you have crap in your fridge and your cupboards, you're not going to get in shape. All of you out there, please, I beg of you, both you on Instagram and you lot on YouTube, there are no exercises to improve belly fat. You have to get your diet in check. If you don't have your diet in check, nothing is going to happen. This question comes up on every single one of my live feeds 3 or 4 times every single week. It's already come up 5 times on this particular chat. It's probably a question that I've been asked upwards of 5,000 times in the last 11 years of my career. There is no machine, there is no amount of crunches you can do that are going to give you abs and get rid of belly fat. Get your diet nailed, get your calories right, keep it clean. Exercising for longer periods also helps my depression. It makes me feel mentally happier. Deb, being active will do that. I can almost guarantee that that amount of training will likely be exacerbating things like depression because your stress hormones will be through the roof. If you are training for that long every day, don't get me wrong, it's not the worst addiction you could be having, but if you are in a gym training for 2 to 4 hours a day, number one, you're probably not living your life the way you should be living. Number two, you certainly won't be getting results, which is going to exacerbate any depression and feelings of anxiety you have. Number three, you can't recover, so you're not going to be sleeping adequately. If you're not sleeping adequately, you are going to slip into various types of mental disorder. This is one of the biggest factors in depression. Please, please, please back off your training. There is nothing good going to come out of training for 4 hours a day, I promise you. You need to be backing that way, way, way off. You know, even if you take it down, if you don't want to drop that, make sure you're in and out of that gym in an hour. That is an improvement. Maybe you don't want to listen fully and go for 3 to 4 days a week. You know, we're talking an hour session, 3 to 4 days a week. That is ample. Let's meet in the middle somewhere. I'm asking you, in order to improve your life and your health, back off to an hour a day. Rather than 4, back off to an hour. Let's meet in the middle, we'll compromise. Trust me, this is going to be good for you. How lean do we need to get before we start increasing calories? Depends. It depends how low you've gone in calories, really. If you're super, super lean at 3,000 calories and you don't necessarily want to get any leaner or any bigger, then don't increase them. For me, I'll diet someone down until they're as lean as they want to be. You know, if someone says they want to be 4% body fat, then I'm not going to be increasing their calories anytime soon. Whereas if someone says, you know what, I just want to see my abs, I want to be about 10%, then I'll get them down there and then I'll say, right, we don't necessarily increase your calories, but depending on how low I took them, we need to find a comfortable maintenance point. But there's no real answer to that. Lorraine Jetson, hi, I lost 13 stone. I've seen a couple of your clients done amazing. Still need to lose more in the belly area. What can you suggest, please? I love your blogs, by the way. Keep them coming. Lorraine, it's diet. This is the 6th time now that we've had this question about belly fat. Your diet needs to be in check. What tends to happen? Now, this may not be the case specifically with you. This is me, of course, making an assumption. What tends to happen is if someone is very, very overweight, is they go down the kind of paleo route usually. They pick up on one of these kind of YouTube fads. So it'll be paleo, or it will be ketosis, or it'll be intermittent fasting. One of these fads that always jumps out at people. Now, what happens with these is, yeah, of course, because either you're creating a calorie deficit or you've cleaned up your diet in general, you're going to lose body fat to a point. However, none of them are body composition diets. If you want a real transformation, you have to do something slightly special. With regards to losing that amount of body fat and still wanting to get further down, you're going to need something specific. It's not something I can answer and give you definitive things for here. You need to look at yourself. If you can assess yourself and say, okay, where am I? Where are my calories? Where are my macronutrients, etc., and bring things down, or potentially take them back up, depending on where your set point is at the moment, then great, do that. If not, this is the sort of issue that you will need to go and see a personal trainer for. You will need one of our programs for. You will need something specific. Your diet is the key to getting body fat off. So wherever you are now, if you still have body fat on you, something needs to change in your diet. Thoughts on 0-calorie drinks, so like Monsters? Prove them wrong. Stimulant drinks in general, I say stay away from. They're not going to do you any good in any way, shape or form. With regards to general sugar-free drinks, the problem is, one thing I really try not to do is give any of you an inch, because if I give you an inch, you take a mile. The same things happen with clients. Soft drinks, sugar-free drinks are full of shit. There is nothing good coming out of them for you. However, if you are in the later stages of a diet, and I mean really the later stages, the time when you're actually suffering, I don't mean going through a transformation where you're probably, oh, you know, I want a bit of chocolate. That's you being a pussy. If you are legitimately in the later stages of a diet, when your brain is just saying, give me food, give me chocolate, give me sugar, give me whatever, then a Diet Coke is probably the lesser of the two evils. Taking in a Diet Coke, if it gets rid of the cravings for half a kilo of chocolate, is a blessing. However, you certainly should not be having them day to day. Really shouldn't. And this is the problem. If ever I say, oh, do you know what, I don't mind them, all of you go out there, next thing I know, you're drinking 6 cans of Coke a day. Don't do it. My advice is stay away from them. If I stay away from them, you'll probably only have 1 or 2 a week. So I say stay away from them completely. Morning workouts or evening workouts. Philippa Rose, kind of when you feel best. For me though, realistically, if I were to generalize that, I would say morning workouts. Reason being is that once they are done, they are done. If you get up in the morning, you get yourself to the gym, you get it out of the way, then that's finished for the day. You're not likely to go to work, get tired, get upset, get stressed, and then think, oh, do you know what, screw it, I'm not going to train. What you'll do is you'll get up when you're still fresh, first thing in the morning, you'll go to the gym, you'll energize yourself, you'll wake yourself up, you'll do something really, really positive for your day. Once you've done that, you go to work, you're more productive, you work harder, you're happier, you're faster, you're better. So if anything, I would say try to train in the morning. Is coffee out including decaf? What hot drinks do you recommend? For me, hot water with lemon in it, green tea in moderation. Again, green tea is a stimulant and it can also thin capillary walls. So you'll find you might start to bruise very, very easily. But again, hot water lemon's a good one for me. Actually, my sister, when I was a kid, when I was a baby, used to drink loads of hot water and lemon. It kind of got me into it and I just took through that. But again, I ask you, why do you really need hot drinks? Why? Why? Gina, I drink a lot of peppermint tea. Okay, Deb, you've got to be careful of peppermint tea. Peppermint tea, again, can cause you quite a few issues. It can be estrogenic. It can cause a little bit of, it's good for your digestion, don't get me wrong, but you certainly shouldn't be having it. For anyone out there who's pregnant, don't drink peppermint tea. Anyone out there who might have issues with estrogen, don't drink peppermint tea, or certainly not much of it. Have the odd 1 or 2, but don't be doing it regularly. Peppermint tea, 4 cups a day, yeah. I mean, you don't want to be drinking it, as I say. I'm very petite and weigh 7 stone 6. I'm not toned at all and have a jelly belly. Any suggestions regarding food and exercise? If you are very, very small like that, but have a jelly belly, you're probably not eating enough food, Emma. So I'd suggest eating some more food and learning how to train heavy, learning how to lift weights. If you can learn how to lift weights, that's going to help tighten your body up, get everything super, super tight and solid. Certainly won't make you big, but it's going to give you a better metabolic output. It's going to keep you leaner, and it's going to accentuate your natural, lovely shape. So lift weights, probably eat a little bit more. What's your opinion on a high-carb diet, low-fat? If it works, it works, Numa. Victoria Blomberg, how are you doing? Hello, one of our own amazing, amazing clients. Philippa, thank you. Low reps, high weight, or high reps, low weight, which is best for losing body fat? Neither. At no point ever in your training should you be considering the 2 words low weight. It's irrelevant. You shouldn't be considering low weight. What you should be doing is whatever rep parameters you are in, you should be lifting as heavy as you possibly can for that rep parameter. A good rule of thumb is to stop 1 to 2 reps short of absolute failure. It's the Tracy Anderson douchebaggery that went on back in the sort of 90s and thousands, where she said that, well, I guess it was the 2000s, where she said that in order for females to get in shape, it was all about light weights and lots of reps. So she's pissing around with 2 kilo dumbbells like a fairy, and it's just completely ineffective. Not only is it ineffective, but it reinforces the notion that women are weak, and you are not. You are strong as bleep. I've got no bleeps on live feed, so you're strong as bleep. You need to understand that you are strong as bleep. You need to embrace it, and you need to enforce that. You need to go in the gym and learn how to lift heavy and feel amazing about yourself. Light weights do not work. Do not do it. Wherever you are lifting, whether it's low reps, whether it's mid-range reps, sort of 8 to 12, or whether it's high reps, 15 to 20, lift as heavy as you possibly can for that rep parameter. Now, if we were to generalize that question a little bit more, rather than me going on about a rant about something that really annoys me and people telling women to lift light, is that the best rep range for me, for anybody to lose body fat, is somewhere in the middle, so 8 to 12, because that's when you're going to build the most muscle, therefore elevate your metabolism in the maximal way, and you're going to burn the most fat because the most fuel, because the volume of the workouts is quite high. So I'd suggest 8 to 12 is a really good rep range for most of you to start. If you're a male and you've got a bit of size that you want to put on as well, I would maybe drop that to sort of 6 to 10 would be adequate. Hi, I discovered that my T levels are really low, as in testosterone or thyroid. I would assume thyroid, right? Compared to the average woman. Would that be a problem in terms of gaining muscle fast? If so, any tips? Would D-aspartic acid help or other subs? Sarah, what you've got to just watch there. In fact, answer my question before you do. Are we talking thyroid or testosterone there? How does the online training work? I'm a member of a gym, but I'm not confident with my form. I wouldn't really push myself like I would with a PT on my back. How effective have been these online plans? Queen Deer, the effectiveness of the online plans is basically down to how you choose to use them. If you commit to them, if you have faith in them, then they are without doubt the most effective fat loss or muscle building plans on the planet. Nobody does it better than us. That is a fact. Now, your application of the information that we give to you, that is going to dictate the training effect. Simple as that. If you can get in there, you can commit to it, then great. You're going to get a massive result out of it. If you can't commit to it, if you're not compliant on your diet, if you're a little bit lazy and lax in the gym, then maybe you're not going to get such a good result. We do everything we can to take measures to make sure you succeed. We have the online forums where all of our online clients from all over the world are in the same forums, supporting each other, sharing tips, successes, whatever it may be, videos, etc. You also have access to a 400 plus video of online exercises. So we can show you, in each of your programs, you can go into the online resource just to see exactly what the exercise is and exactly how to do it. A lot of these are coached by Nick Mitchell himself. So we have taken into account everything you could possibly need to succeed. However, it is always down to how you choose to apply it. Simple as that. If you want to check them out, go to upfitness.com. Go up to the menu in the top left corner and click online training, and it will take you down to all of the options. Work's busy, like everyone. I don't have the time to be eating loads and loads and loads to keep protein levels up. Are shakes okay? What do you recommend? Pack me pretty? No, not really. If you're serious about your results, then you'll be serious about your food. Shakes are not going to do you any good as a replacement for adequate protein intake. You are going to need to prepare a little bit earlier. This is a question, this is no offense to you, but this is a question that kind of annoys me a little bit, because so many of you out there, your perception of time, I may be wrong with you specifically, but this is going out to everybody generally. Your perception of time is so far off, so far off. I'll give you an example. I work, let's say, from 6 a.m. until, maybe 11, the other night 2 a.m. every single day. Okay, I've got a lot to do. Maybe I'm not as productive as I should be. Maybe I should be able to bring that down, but I still find the time to prep my food. Why? Because I have to, because it's a habit now. I find the time to do it. Nobody out there who can watch TV at any point doesn't have time to prep their food. Nobody out there who is on social media, watching this live feed, going on Facebook, talking to people on messages, liking photos, none of these people don't have time to prepare their foods. So my advice to you is A, don't take shakes. B, change your perception of your time, your available time, or use it better, because the chances are you can prep. If you're a client, I'd be saying this exact same thing to you. If you told me as a client you didn't have time to prep your food, I would immediately call bullshit on it. If carbs are best saved for the evening, but you train in the morning and need to refuel glycogen, how do you work around that? By having a carb meal immediately after your training, not a problem. That's why I recommend to our live UP clients, they get at least, certainly in the start, they get at least 2 full carb meals per day, just as a starting point, and I recommend they have them after training, depending on where they train, so that's fine. HJ Hawkins, yo, what's up? Hamza, what do you do when clients on contraception pills and injections are affecting their weight loss? You let them know, basically. There's not really much you can do there, Hamza. You know, if it's a personal reason as to why they're on them, you can just, I wouldn't necessarily say recommend they come off them, because obviously that has implications, right? But just make them aware of the effect it's having on their body. The same applies with things like periods and contraceptive pills and all of these things. There's a lot of you girls out there who take them have literally no idea what they're doing to your body. You don't actually know the mechanisms as to how they work. So the combination pill, for instance, progesterone, estrogen, these exogenous hormones mimic hormones in your body, which stops the cycle. It basically stops the uterus lining falling out each month, as some of you may know. But that's not all it does, because estrogen and progesterone have different roles in the body that affect different things. Now, if progesterone is kept at a particular level, in order to stop this cycle, estrogen tries to elevate as well, so it can go up and down, and this can cause all sorts of problems. Very worth reading about for all of you out there. Hamza, if you have clients like that, you need to research yourself. You need to educate yourself on what is happening and explain to them, and just let them make their decisions on it. Queen Dia, finally, what results can I realistically achieve by September? I want to get down to lean 59, but still breastfeeding my 7 months and have ab separation from two back-to-back pregnancies. Queen Dia, this is again one of those classic questions that can never be answered. How fast you can achieve something, that does not have an answer. That is entirely down to you. It's down to your genetics, it's down to your compliance, it's down to your commitment, it's down to your training intensity. Okay, I cannot answer you. I can't look at you right now and give you any kind of estimate as to how well you can progress. You can progress as fast as you can progress. Simple as that. You can't compare yourself to anyone else. I can't compare you to anyone else and give you an accurate answer. We will always endeavor to get you to your result, your end result, as fast as possible. That is our job. We will try to find a way to get you to your end result as fast and as safely as possible. How fast that happens to be, kind of down to you. That's a how long is a piece of string kind of question. Testosterone. Sarah, potentially you need to look at, it could be a testosterone estrogen imbalance. So greens intake is very, very useful. You can take boron, something like that, which helps to liberate free testosterone. Zinc is also very, very useful for elevating testosterone. It allows your body to produce more of it. And a diet that's slightly higher in fat. But, of course, you need to see your doctor, specifically. Especially with female health and things like that, you need to see your doctor. So get medical advice rather than my advice, of course. Those bits of advice would be what I would do, but always check with your doctor beforehand, just in case there are any contraindications based on the blood tests that have been done. MDev, thanks for the answer. Very, very helpful. No problem. You're welcome. Evie, you still with me there, YouTube? Got ya. Would you recommend stretching pre and post workout? Sorry if that's a silly question. Not at all, Philip, but it's a great question. What I would recommend pre-workout. In fact, let's start with what's stretching. Let's kind of try and define stretching a little bit. If you have a tight muscle and you stretch it, what are you essentially trying to do? You're basically trying to switch it off, right? You're trying to loosen it up so it's no longer tight. So the classic stretch, the kind of static stretching where you stand on one leg and you pull in and you hold for a minute, what that's actually doing is that stretch, lengthening the muscle like that, is going to stimulate something called the Golgi tendon organ. Now, what that does is it shuts off the muscle fibers in order to loosen them off, okay? That's why stretching post-workout is very, very useful. However, what you don't want to do pre-workout is switch off the muscle tissue, right? Because it's going to make you unsafe, it's going to reduce the amount of weight you can lift, it's going to ruin your workout. So, static stretching, the traditional type of stretching, should be done post-workout, when the muscles have been trained, when they've been very active, in order to loosen them off and get them opened up a little bit. Pre-workout, you need to be dynamic stretching. You need to be doing stretching through movement, okay? There are many, many videos on this. I'm going to film one specifically this week, so keep an eye on my YouTube channel, Elliot Upton, with 2 L's, 2 T's. Go over there and hit the subscribe button and you'll see it pop up. I will give you a kind of a breakdown as to how to warm up, exactly how to warm up, starting from the little blood raiser, a little bit of a cross trainer, something like that, right the way through to a full dynamic stretch ready for any workout, whether it's legs, whether it's upper body, anything like that. So dynamic stretching pre-workout, static stretching post-workout. Can you use the online forum if you're doing the PT plan? Louisa P, if you are doing any of our online plans, our live UP online plan or one-to-one online training, you absolutely can use the live UP forums, yes. That is what they are there for. They're there for us to kind of all support each other. It's an amazing community. It's really, really, really on fire at the moment. The results, we had a check-in day on Monday. I think we've got about 90-something check-ins, and every single one of them, every single person, 100% of the live UP clients had made progress even in the last week. I was like a proud father. I worked from 5 a.m. till 2 a.m. this Monday. It was a long ass day, but my God, it was worth it. It was awesome. It was awesome. Should a guillotine bench press replace or complement a standard bench press chest? It'll complement it, Benji. It will be something you'd use as an accessory exercise more than anything, but I wouldn't overuse it because that position can also become very, very aggressive on the shoulder joint, so don't overuse it. As a learning PT who's been in the gym for 6 months, a bit stuck with what to do now, whether to be reading loads of books, watching loads of videos on YouTube, what's your thoughts on this, mate, and where to go? Both. Both. Prove them wrong. Read everything. Read absolutely everything. Watch absolutely everything. Listen to everything. But don't just regurgitate it. Understand it, interpret it, and apply it to however it applies to you and your clients. This is the key that I find a lot of PTs get wrong, is they fall for whatever the last sales pitch told them. You know, we see it all of the time. The last course a PT does, suddenly that's the be all and end all. That's now the new Bible for them. And it drives me mental. Read everything, listen to everything and everyone, but find your understanding of it. Figure out a way to make sense of it. Figure out if it applies to your clients, your training, whatever it may be. If so, use it, but use it where it does apply. Don't just take something and blindly start, if you don't do a course that tells you how to strength train professional hockey players, you don't then turn around to a 45-year-old mother of 3 who's never trained before and try to strength train her like a professional hockey player, right? And this is what has happened in the fitness industry a lot, because people are too damn stupid to be able to understand the stuff that they're reading. They just read it, regurgitate it. So be careful of that. What do you think of programs like P90X or Insanity Training, 2 hours a day, 6 times a week? Absolutely idiotic, Laura Cupcakes. This is me saying this. This is not UP. This is Elliot Upton's opinion, not the opinion of Ultimate Performance. Stuff like that is irresponsibly programmed, and it is fucking dangerous. It's really dangerous. There's a reason almost everyone who starts doing that after about 3 weeks has wrecked feet, wrecked ankles, wrecked knees, wrecked wrists, wrecked hips, wrecked backs. High intensity interval training, whether it's something like P90X, whether it's Insanity or Joe Wicks, whatever, they have their place. However, what a lot of these coaches do, no matter how well educated they may seem, they prove how poorly educated they are by training people the way they train them. High intensity interval training should be something that is used in moderation to complement a weight training based diet. Why? Because it's extremely aggressive, it's extremely dangerous on the joints, it's extremely high impact, and it's also often promoted to the sort of people who simply aren't ready for it. And the same applies with P90X, etc. So they've had their place, they're getting people off of their ass, they're getting people training, they're getting people working, but they are massively excessive, extraordinarily unhealthy in the long term, and I'm not a massive fan of them. My opinion, Elliot Upton, not that of UP. Niall Crow, I feel like I've got the last half of your message there. Might have to answer that again. Sarah Garn, I appreciate it. I may recommend a ton of subs, so I'm a bit reluctant to take too many besides protein and vitamins. Yeah, I mean, you always want to try with all of you. You always want to try. If you have any kind of ailment, you want to try and fix it with food. That should be your primary. You fix it with food. If you can't fix it with food, that's when you start looking at supplementation. But get your diet right, and most ailments tend to fix themselves. Philippa, you're welcome. I haven't been told about this. I'll email and ask him about it. No problem. Hello, Gus Richards. Hi, would you use a hack squat instead of barbell if your lower back has some pain issues? Potentially, yes, Gus. It's a good alternative in the short term. What I would also say is make sure you get whatever is causing your back issues seen to. Don't just ignore it. By moving on to a different machine, yes, you're remedying a symptom of a problem. What you need to do is find the root cause of that problem and get it fixed. So by all means, move over to a fixed machine, which has got a lot less compressive pressure, and then go and get your back fixed. Sup, Loves Fashion, Tic Tac Vic. I see people doing decline bench presses. Is that a beneficial exercise for the chest? Absolutely, yes, it is, Tic Tac Vic. It's very beneficial to the chest. It's great for building up pec major, which is the big chunky bit down here. What I would suggest for most people, 5 to 10 degrees of decline is very, very good. It's also great for those of you with shoulder problems. It actually does help you to stabilize a little bit more. It allows you to kind of, you're not quite so aggressive on the shoulder joint. So 5 to 10 degree incline or decline can be very, very useful. Is a floor press as effective as a bench press? Is obviously restricted with how far you can lower your elbows. Actually, it doesn't serve the same purpose, really. You're not working full range of motion, but what a floor press is very, very good at is for helping you pass strength plateaus. It's helping you pass the midpoint. It kind of changes obviously it changes where you produce the force on the lift. So it's going to help you to overload a certain part of the lift. I wouldn't necessarily say you should be changing one for the other. Potentially add both of them into a program where necessary. Best foods when you're low in iron. I would say red meat, Andrew Parker. Red meat. Steak. Do you always recommend 2 weeks initial low carb phase? Vibe style, it depends. It depends on the person. If you've got someone who's already super shredded and they come to me and say, right, I want to gain 15 kilos of muscle in the next year and a half, then I wouldn't put them on low carb straight away, of course not. If you've got someone who's really, really fat and has really shit dietary habits, then yeah, potentially putting them on a low carb diet is going to help kickstart their fat loss. It's going to get their body into a fat burning state. It's going to help to reduce overall inflammation in the body, and it's going to teach them some dietary discipline. It's going to teach them how to start creating better habits to move forward with constantly going forward. So depending on the person, it is highly beneficial. So I would recommend it to most of you who are jumping into a fat loss diet. More water. Hello to those of you coming in. Diane, Inan Kapadam. All right, any more questions? I don't know what time it is, but I get the feeling we've probably got 5 or 10 minutes before Instagram jumps in and says, you have 2 minutes remaining, Elliot. Diane, Kendall, yo. So again, remember folks, this Instagram Live that we are doing right now will be up on YouTube. Go to YouTube, search Elliot Upton, it will take you to my channel. Subscribe and you can watch all of these on catch up. Right there is the camera for catch up. So you have seen me today speaking to Instagram, answering all of the questions that are running down the screens here. But of course you haven't had the chance to ask any questions. So do please put them in the comments box and I will either answer them in a comment, or if they warrant a full video response, I will put the video response up too so you can watch that. More coming in. Sophie, how many cardio weight training sessions would you recommend a week? I'm training for a half marathon, so I tend to run three times a week. I also love weight training too. Sophie, for most people, 3 sessions of weight training a week is adequate, 3 to 4 maximum, if your recovery is fairly standard. Now with that in mind, my time management's brilliant. I've now got 2 minutes remaining, so these are gonna have to be fast. 3 sessions per week, Sophie, is about adequate for most people, potentially 4 if your recovery is very, very, very good. With that, if you're training for a half marathon, I would probably add 2 runs per week. The reality of it is the stronger you are, providing you keep your overall body weight down, the stronger you are, the better you're going to be at running anyway. That is a fact. Endurance sports are just your ability to hold a position for longer. So strength training, weight training is going to improve your time anyway. So I would say 3 sessions a week in the gym and 2 of your marathon training sessions. Right, we have 1 minute, 20 seconds remaining, so you have to start firing questions down, keep them short so I can read them, answer them really, really quickly. This is the quick fire section. I've got less than 2 minutes remaining, so we're gonna bang them out. Intermittent fasting, for how long would it be optimal, sustainable for long term? Intermittent fasting, stay away from it. If you're one of the 30% of people it works for, pretty much all male, it can be useful. For everybody else, I wouldn't bother if getting in shape is your aim. If it's a health thing, maybe it has its applications, but certainly not for getting in shape. Is there any real difference between under and overhand grip on rows? And if so, do you recommend mixing up the torso angles for us? Yes, it can change the stimulation on the forearm. It will change the length of the bicep, so potentially it's going to reduce levels of injury on the overuse injury on the elbow, etc., and the elbow flexors. So vary it. And do I recommend mixing up torso angles? Yeah, absolutely, but again, depends where you want to row. So obviously you're going to get the most activation down nice and low when you're basically horizontal, but if you want to hit your upper back and traps, obviously bring it up slightly to an incline. You're welcome, Sophie, not a problem. Right, 20 seconds remaining. Get these questions in before we go. Come on, 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 come on. Go, 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 go. Anyone coming in? Anyone coming in? We've got 15 seconds. 15 seconds out now. We are down to 10, 9. Thanks, man. You are welcome. No problem. Tell your friends. Share this. Go onto YouTube. Elliot Upton. You can watch it again. 3 seconds left. Peace out to you all. Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, there we go. That was the Instagram Live today, Wednesday, the something of June, because I don't know what day it is. All of the days merge into one. As I said, I hope you enjoyed that. It was a long old hour. This is an ideal thing to watch while you're doing your cardio or something like that. But please, if there's any questions you are unsure of, by all means, ask them down in the comments box, and I promise I will do my best to answer them. If they warrant a full video, I'll do a whole separate video on them. I will be on the @UPFitnessLive Instagram channel every single Wednesday, 8 PM UK time. So get on over there, hit the follow button, and you can watch these lives and answer questions in real time. Down below in the comments box, I will put the link to the website. I'll put the link to both of our Instagram profiles so you know exactly what's going on. You can get over there and follow live. Please share this, send it out if you liked it, if you found it interesting, if you found it entertaining. Put it out on your Facebook, put it out on your Instagram, put links back and forth. I really, really appreciate your support. Until next week or the next time you watch one of these, thank you very much for watching. I've been Elliot Upton. Peace out.